coming up next, I'm going to bring Greg Riley back to the stage. He has a piece of his own writing. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Fairly, there's a joke to be made about controlling white males. It's really sexual, and I'll get back to you when I figure it out. Anyway, this is when they have a title. It doesn't matter. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's a Saturday. You've just woken up. A few gentle rays of sunlight flow in through the cracks in the curtain. You stare at the wall and finally realize you're awake. Your brain tells you that it's time to get out of bed, but you're alarmed to discover that you just can't. You know that with the right blend of effort and willpower, you probably could sit up, put your feet on the floor, stand, and walk across the room. But your legs won't budge. You've awoken in a strange paralysis, an inability to move your body in the way you know you should. You lay in bed and you're considering all the plans that you have for the day. The errands you need to run, the people you're supposed to see for coffee, or the book you were looking forward to spending some time with. The sun is out, and you know it's going to be a pleasant day. You tell yourself these things, and then you tell your brain that it is time to move, but it just won't listen. It can't hear you. The plans and errands and coffee and books and people all seem less exciting than they did last night or last week, and as time wears on, you stare at that wall, and the appeal of being a human being becomes lesser and lesser. When I tell someone that I'm depressed, I always get the same response, "Oh, me too." They tell me how hard it is to get out of bed sometimes, or how sometimes I just want to stay at home and do nothing all day. I nod and I smile and we share a kindred little moment of appreciation. Life can just be so hard sometimes. What I don't tell them is that for them, it's hard to get out of bed, but for me, it's often completely impossible. Often I can't do anything but stay at home and do nothing all day. Even if I have a good reason to leave the house, my brain won't allow it. Your brain uses two powerful chemicals to maintain and stabilize your mood. They're called serotonin and dopamine. In the brains of individuals suffering with depression, these chemicals tend to be deficient. Having a dopamine deficiency means that the brain is incapable of experiencing emotions such as happiness, excitement, or even anticipation. My brain simply does not produce sufficient levels of dopamine to experience these feelings, even when I realize that I should. It's difficult to be at your own birthday party and not feel excited that your friends are there, and not feel happy that there are people in the world who care about you. About 2 years ago, a medical professional gave me a diagnosis that anyone who had spent 15 minutes with me would have made: major depression, general anxiety, and attention deficit disorder. The ADD is the hardest part to explain to people. It's part of the dopamine deficiency, and it means that certain parts of my brain don't function properly. Popular depictions and culture of ADD mark it as a tendency to get distracted by shiny things, or a fault in being able to pay attention or take things seriously. But the reality is far worse. It's not that I can't pay attention to things, I absolutely can. The problem is that I often can't remember the things I pay attention to. Even if you said them to me moments ago, it can cause a significant issue in relationships when your girlfriend says, "Greg, what did I just say?" And despite giving her my utmost attention, I can't recall a single word that came out of her mouth. This is real. I know it's funny. It seems funny, but it's not. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, we go.
It's awful. I get distracted and I don't even know that it's happening. I miss valuable information that I don't even fucking know I'm missing. I don't share this with you to get any sort of sympathy. I share this with you because chances are you don't really know what this is like. I would bet good money that some of the people in this room dealing with friends or loved ones suffering with any sort of brain disorder has uttered something along these lines. Well, sometimes you've just got to push through these feelings. Or, you're just not trying hard enough. You're just not applying yourself. Or, everyone gets depressed sometimes, just remember that things will get better. Yes, absolutely, things will get better. And yes, I push through these feelings, or lack thereof, every single day. I try very, very hard, constantly, to cope with the disorders I live with so that I can live a relatively normal life, so I can make it to work on time, so that I eat and get enough sleep. What you don't understand is that things might get better, but I probably will not. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd go from having less money to having more money, but there's hardly a guarantee that I would even enjoy it. Millions of Americans deal with major depression every day, and most will never get treated. And it's because of the impression we've created in our culture that brain and mood disorders have something to do with our personalities. People with these disorders are just lazy, or they're unmotivated, or just aren't trying as hard as everyone else. In my experience, people with these disorders have to try harder than most just to keep their head above water. If someone you knew told you they had the flu or lupus or even struggled with alcoholism, you would probably tell them to seek professional help, take some medicine, get it treated in some way or another. But brain disorders are no different. But as a society, we treat them like they are. Nobody looks at the diabetic and tells them they're not trying hard enough to make insulin. Why would you tell me that I'm not trying hard enough to make dopamine? If you know someone that suffers from symptoms of depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, anxiety, advise them to get professional help. Brain science is still a pretty murky and mysterious thing, but amazing strides are being made every day to approach these sometimes disabling diseases and disorders. Antidepressants stimulate the brain to produce more dopamine and serotonin and assist the brain in holding on to and using the supply that it already has more efficiently. The result, in conjunction with therapeutic counseling and personal action, can drastically change the landscape of a person's life. These are serious medical conditions, not the byproduct of laziness or an unwillingness to apply ourselves to our own success. The sooner our culture begins to address brain disorders as seriously as we address bodily disorders and diseases, the sooner people who really need help can get it. Please try to remember that your friends and your family and your loved ones who deal with these disorders need your help. And sometimes they need you to do for them things they can't do themselves. And honestly, sometimes all they need is somebody who understands. So please try. Thanks.
Yeah.